Thank you, Mayor, council members, and citizens of Costa Mesa that we're all sworn to serve. My name's Rob Gagne. I'm president of the Costa Mesa Firefighters Association. After the economic downturn of 2009, the CMFA met with the city and agreed to work on options to help alleviate some of the financial losses caused by the downturn. We came to the bargaining table while under a very strong MOU and agreed to help by paying more towards our pension. We gave up protected staffing numbers and put it in your hands. And we agreed to the reorganizational plan, known as the 17-point plan. We came to the table ready to help. We came to help and come up with solutions, as we have always done. For the past 4 years, CMFA has been working under a transitional period as the fire department was reorganized under that plan. This has caused excessive work hours and increased overtime, which you continue to throw in our faces as though it's somehow our fault. It has resulted in reduced staffing and occasionally unsafe staffing levels. At the last council meeting, there was a long discussion on how the city should deliver ambulance transportation to those in need. At the end of the long evening, it was decided by you to continue transportation service as we have inefficiently been doing for the last 2 years. I say inefficient because it is. Even council members have stated it is. Having 2 ambulances, one private and one owned by the citizens, to respond to the same incident is a waste of resources. This was the reason to do a study. For your information, the Costa Mesa Firefighters Association had purposely stay out of the process in which the fire chief worked with the consultants that drafted the ambulance transport study. Ask the fire chief or CEO Hatch if CMFA had a part in it, because the answer is no. In fact, we never publicly endorsed any of the plans. We did this because we knew the council majority would accuse us of trying to create a plan that would apparently would require more people or more money or any other excuse they could throw out. However, where I do draw the line is after that council meeting, Mayor Pro Tem Righiemer chose to put in the OC Register the following false statement, and I quote, Righiemer accused the Costa Mesa Firefighters Association of blocking more efficient options, of using the public-private proposal as part of a union ploy to get rid of a private ambulance model, and of sustaining an inefficient ambulance system so $185,000 a year firefighters could spend their time driving ambulances, end quote. The men and women of the Firefighters Association have been nothing but patient and compliant in working with the city staff the past 4 years. To have you accuse your firefighters of doing anything different is disheartening. It does nothing but drive morale further down. And before you accuse your firefighters of just driving an ambulance, I suggest that you come down and visit and learn in exactly what it is we do on a day-to-day basis. We will continue to do our job professionally and continue to strive to provide the excellent service to our citizens that they need and deserve.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, sir.
Mr. Mayor, point of personal privilege.
Yeah, go ahead. Excuse me, no clapping, please.
You know, Mr. Mayor, I find it shocking that the head of the union would show up here and start attacking a council member because a council member is doing what they think is in the best interest of the citizens of this community. I find it bizarre that the president of the union is just coming down and they want to do the ambulances out of the goodness of their heart. It's going to make us all sorts of money. It's all this kind of stuff, which was just garbage. The report basically said that a private ambulance company is going to show up at every single call, be at every single place they have to be, but only get half the revenue. That was their whole premise. We'll get the other half of the revenue. If it's basic, they'll take it, but if it's not basic, they won't. There was nothing in there for surge. There was nothing in there at all for excess capacity that we'd have to have. There was nothing. And so to sit there and have the president of the union come up here and tell he's just doing us a favor, we're just being compliant is a great line. Here's the bottom line. The rest of the country does not have bizarre rules that have to have a paramedic, sworn paramedic being in an ambulance. The rest of the country doesn't do that. Paramedic standards in the state of California are the same whether you're a fireman or not a fireman, period. You go north of LA all the way to San Francisco and you do not see a firefighter in an ambulance. A private paramedic company, a private ambulance company has a paramedic in there who doesn't make $185,000 or $200,000 a year. They make $35,000, $45,000, and $50,000 a year. And only in Orange County has the strength of the labor unions done it that we are the only county that does not have private paramedics until right now. We finally got private paramedics to allow paramedic companies to ship people from one hospital to another hospital. So when you have to transport somebody from Kaiser to UCI for insurance reasons or whatever, if a person's not stable, they have to have someone higher than an EMT. Our county had to have a nurse go. That's the highest level, because it wasn't even allowed to until Lynch Ambulance Company came in. Let me make this perfectly clear. This is a ridiculous waste of public resources to go ahead and have firefighters drive as paramedics to hospitals. The rest of the country doesn't do it, just doesn't do it, and to say they do is ridiculous. So I've asked the chief to talk to Dr. Stratton, who works for the EMS system in our county, to get us approved for the ambulance company, whoever it is, I could care less who it is, puts in the bid to make sure they bring private paramedics with the ambulance. So after our paramedics are there, we'll keep our paramedics, that's no problem. They'll show up at the house, but when they're stabilized or whatever happens, they're transferred by a private company that we don't have to pay for with their private paramedic who meets the exact same standards that our paramedics does and get it done. And I've already asked the CEO to talk to the chief about that, but I am done with this charade of how we're going to be safe and make it better. It's a rip-off to the public. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we're going to go back to public comments.